So hello students, as part of our mains 2024 paper analysis, now we are going to discuss science and technology portion of GS paper 3. If you look at the first question, what is the present world scenario of intellectual property rights with respect to life materials? Although India is second in the world to file patents, still only a few have been commercialized. Explain the reasons behind this less commercialization. Very easy question if you understand how this intellectual property regime is taking place, how things are going on in the world. Now, first of all, they have asked about present world scenario. So you need to discuss in the introduction or in the body part. Initially, you have to show what is this world scenario, and specifically you have to talk about intellectual property rights related to life materials. Now, most of you, I'm sure they are confused about what is this life material. When they are saying life material, they are thinking about pharmaceutical industry, they are thinking about biotechnology industry, they are thinking about genetic variation, genetic mutations that take place, the GM crops which we talk about. So overall, these are the technologies they are thinking about. So even if we just focus on the biotechnology part, all of you know that this is an emerging sector, this is an emerging technology. We are focusing a lot, it's not just India but many other countries who are focusing on biotechnology right now. So they are interested in intellectual property rights, and especially after COVID-19 pandemic, the world community has become very much careful about this industry which is related to life materials. So it is saying that in what is the world scenario, please tell us, and please tell us the reasons. Even if Indians are going for more patents, they are not commercializing it. So we are just filing patents and we are doing nothing after that. We don't have the industry developed over here, which is commercialized one. This you have to show. So first talk about life materials, talk about intellectual property rights, and start showing that present world scenario. So present world scenario, when you're showing, start showing how world community is showing interest in these things. So you can talk about TRIPS agreement which has taken place, which talks about the IPR regime. You can talk about this CBD, Convention on Biodiversity. Then you can talk specifically about WIPO, which has been a special important agency for the patent related things. So mention all of these things to show how the world is showing its interest in intellectual property rights, specifically in life materials. And when you show all of that, even you can mention about this GM crops related things also. Many companies are coming up with some ideas. Many countries are trying to come up with some laws in their domestic level and also at the international level. They are trying to bring some laws related to these things. All of this shows the world community's interest. So world scenario becomes clear. Once you show world scenario, then specifically talk about India. What is happening in India's case, that we are filing patents but not getting commercialized. Now, when it is not getting commercialized, that means there is some systemic problem. People are filing patents, that means we have really good students, we have really good talent pool, but we are not able to commercialize. That means there is some problem with our governance, our system, that you can show. For example, one of the reasons being our funding on R&D. You see, out of entire GDP, we spend less than 1% in research and development. Then how can you expect that we'll go for the good commercialization? That's a big problem. Second, when it comes to investment, the government is not spending. Private sector also does not show much interest in the investment in this R&D part. So that's a key issue. Then you can say that IPR related awareness is not there. And if you look at the Indian case specifically, when it comes to pharma industry, specifically India focuses more on generic drugs. We can say that India is the hub of generic drugs. So if you focus on generic drugs, how can you focus more on IPR? It is completely against the IPR regime. So show all these arguments, talk about this angle wherein these are the systemic problems which are stopping India from commercializing this thing. And then the basic things also. For example, there is bureaucratic hurdle, bureaucracy is not showing much interest. Then you can show that in India, industry and academics are not linked properly. So this is how you can come to the conclusion that we need to we need to address these issues to commercialize this IPR regime in a correct way. Okay, this is the first question from Science and Tech. The second question: what is the technology being employed for electronic toll collection on highways? What are its advantages and limitations? What are the proposed changes that will make this process seamless? And would this transition carry any potential hazards? Now, anyone who is reading newspaper can answer this question very easily. So recently, Government of India has introduced GNSS based toll collection system. This is Global Navigation Satellite System based toll collection system, and it is going to replace our FASTag. So you just need to describe about this system. So they have asked about this system, how this is going to give some kind of advantages to us, and this system will have some kind of limitations also. So firstly, you will talk about this system. You will show how this system is going to work. So show that there is role of satellite navigation system such as GPS, GLONASS, etc. Then show that it is going to have some advantage over the FASTag system. How? It is going to decide how much toll to take from you depending on how much distance you have traveled, and it will make use of satellite system. So there will be some device in your vehicle which will be connected to the satellites. It will check the distance and it will evaluate the exact distance and exact amount. So this is a better system. You don't need to wait in a queue. Even if there is FASTag, we have to wait sometimes at the toll collection booth. So we don't need to do that in case of this particular thing. So these advantages. Limitations you can talk about. For example, we have recently introduced FASTag and now we want to transition towards a new system. So it is not going to be easy. There will be problems related to infrastructure, related to the cost, funding, etc. And after that, they are asking about what are the proposed changes for seamless process and transition carries any potential hazards. So again, the same question has been repeated. To some extent, for all these limitations, try to give some solutions. You can propose some solutions how you can go ahead with a seamless transition. So what you can do is you can ensure that the vehicles having FASTag, you can integrate this system in the same vehicle. That could be one way. You can go ahead with more awareness programs, etc. But there can be some issues, some potential hazards, some, for example, the system which is focusing on satellites, if that data is hacked, if that satellite data is hacked, that communication is hacked, that can have really big consequences. There can be sometimes technical failures. All these issues can be there. So these all you can mention very clearly. Now, the next question: the world is facing an acute shortage of clean and safe fresh water. What are the alternative technologies which can solve this crisis? Briefly discuss any three such technologies, citing their key merits and demerits. Now, we all know that we are going towards some kind of global crisis related to water. The water shortage is a problem and we need to deal that. So, it is something that is happening and we can observe that thing. And UPSC has taken that question from the basic observation. Now, here they are saying, what are the alternative technologies which can solve this crisis? So, you should know about these technologies, only then you can write the answer. One of the technology is this RO, reverse osmosis, which we use in the desalination plants. So, you can talk about this technology. Now, they have asked about key merits and demerits also. So, you can mention the benefits we can get. For example, if we use this desalination plant, we can convert the sea water in the fresh water, which is a good advantage. But there will be disadvantage that you will require lot of electricity to run this particular desalination plant. So these all things you can mention. Then we can take example of another technology. For example, UV treatment. So making use of this UV rays, we can ensure that the water becomes fresh water. Now using this, we can kill the microorganisms, the bacteria, the virus that is there in the water, which is a good thing. But there is demerit also, that the system, the way UV treatment works, it will not completely eliminate the disinfectant part. Or you can say that in future, there can be new infectants coming into that particular water. So this is not highly sustainable solution as such. Then you can mention about the emerging nanotechnology. Using nanotechnology also you can deal with this crisis of fresh water. What you can do is at the molecular level, at the molecular level, you can kill that virus, you can remove all those pollutants or contaminants from the water. But again, nanotechnology is still emerging. We need more research and development. We still do not know the environmental impact it will have in future because the studies are still going on. And more or less, we need to put more efforts and more funding in nanotechnology. So this is how three technologies you can mention and show their merits and demerits. Okay. Now the last question. What are asteroids? How real is the threat of them causing extinction of life? What strategies have been developed to prevent such a catastrophe? Now, this is something we normally see in the Hollywood movies that when asteroid is coming to the earth and this will destroy the entire planet. So, a very good question we can say. Here, first of all, discuss about what is asteroid. Discuss in detail. You must have seen this thing that we have a solar system in which there is a belt called asteroid belt. So you can even make a diagram and show that particular belt between Mars and Jupiter. You can say that asteroids are rugged or smaller bodies, smaller than planets, which are revolving around the sun just like other planets are doing it. And you can show their composition also. So the composition, some of these asteroids are made up of carbon, some of them are made up of metals. So this is how you can even show their composition. Once you discuss asteroids, then show, is it a real threat to us, to the life extinction? So whether it is a threat or not, this you can decide on the basis of some evidence. So first you will think about historical part. Did anything happen in history which gives that evidence? So here we have an example of Chicxulub asteroid which came towards Earth 66 million years ago. And this was the reason why we saw extinction of dinosaurs. So this is a good evidence to show that yes, it is a big threat. But now there is one another side. Even if this has happened once, this may happen again also. But the time or the frequency, you can say that it is somewhere around 100 million years. So after 100 million years, this may happen. So frequency is very low. So it is not a big danger considering its frequency. So this is how you can show both angles. Now because they have asked about some strategy, you can discuss that particular strategy, how you can ensure that we mitigate this issue. Now first solution would be to go for NASA's DART mission. So in the DART mission, what they try to do, they try to hit the asteroid and change its particular direction. So this is one of the technology which we have right now available. But this can be used for smaller asteroids and not larger ones. So when it comes to larger asteroids, we do not have any strategy right now. For smaller ones, we are developing the technology. We have it. Second, you can go for nuclear explosion. You put a nuclear bomb on that asteroid and it will explode. That's a big option. Third, you can make use of laser technology. You can go for a very high energy laser beam and put it on that asteroid so that it will get destroyed, it will get vaporized completely. And another way you can do it through making use of the gravity. Making use of the gravity pull, you can also change its direction to some extent. So all of these are strategies which you can use to prevent that catastrophe which will be caused by asteroids. So this is all about science and technology part of GS paper 3. Thank you.